And that is Revenant of Valheim.
Oh, okay. Hold on. We had a little drop off there. Get us button again. We may have missed the last part of your spiel.
Oh.
Sorry. Now it'll be a mystery.
It's
Alive. Okay. It's a mystery. But Revenant, having collected her share of the diamonds and is heading back to Xambaala with the crew. All right. Oh, YouTube receiving video. Weird. All right. So, Nikki, tell us about your character.
I play Pinesta. Pinesta's a bard. She is happy to be leaving the island because she's almost lost her best friend there and lost several other friends at the island. So she's pretty happy to not be there anymore. And oddly enough, Xambaala has become sort of a home base for them and for her. And so she is happy to see Xambaala, despite its many, many, many faults. While she's there, she wants to research, look into some of the things that they discovered, and learn more about things that they saw, the technology, the aliens, the creatures. So she's interested in that, and that is Pinesta.
Excellent. All right, and rounding out the surviving party is Tony's character. Tell us about Brighill, Tony.
The group of small children gathered around the low burning fire. It's almost dark in the small village. As one of them looks at the blonde-headed girl and goes, "Go ahead, Brig. Go ahead. Touch those embers. It's not going to hurt you. Go ahead, do it." As the young blonde girl reaches out and touches the dying embers in this fire pit. It's hot. It burns her fingertips. As she jumps up, the look on her face as she doesn't know what to say, the tears begin to well in her eyes as she turns around and begins to run for home, run to the safety and the comfort of her mother. She looks around. It's not a small village. It's a large city with a port and water and docks. And she goes, "Where am I? Who am I? I don't remember this." As the ship tosses presently, and she wakes from her nightly slumber, she reaches the grasp of hair. It is turning even more silver white on her head. And she goes, "Brighill. Yeah, Brighill. It's Brighill, the imposing, the warlock."
Excellent. Right. So Brighill, having had quite a journey so far in life in general, but also at Crystal Point, you're heading back to Xambaala. So in Xambaala, of course, you had found a book that was some kind of a magic item. It was identified for you by the wizard Banch, who somehow in one of the nights, as you were sailing, disappeared. You've not seen him since. You're not sure if he's just invisible with Eka or what, but you haven't seen him around. So you're assuming that somehow he made his way with his blobby self and moved on. Beyond that, you want to try to sell this magic item. You know you have a connection there at the library, which I know that that Pinesta wanted to meet up with them anyways for research. And then also you've got to give Aramis his cut of the trade that you guys work together. So.
Oh yes, I do have to go see him. So.
Okay, do you want to break apart and go see Aramis separately and spread out, guys, or do you want to all just stick together?
Brighill will look towards Pinesta and go, "He's your friend. He seems like that he won't do anything to harm you. Do you think it will be okay if you go visit by yourself this time? I want to go to the market and look around and just really traverse the streets. I need to just look around today."
Yes, I can handle Aramis. It'll be fine. Do what you have to do, Brighill.
Revna kind of speaks up and assuming that Panesta and Brig and Revna have already spoken. She says, if this is something that I'm going to have any part of, no matter how big or small, um, I feel I should meet this Aramis, and if it were up to you, if oh God, English man, if it is agreeable to you, I would accompany you as a handmaiden or assistant.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can just come as a business partner and friend.
Well, I wasn't sure how much you wanted him to know, so
I'm sure there's not much that we do that he doesn't already know, and especially if we do it in Xambaala, because he runs the place now.
fair enough. Yep. So Revna
Excellent.
will go with.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So, Brighild, you head off towards the Temple of Helios. You know it's kind of in the center of Xambaala. Some of your crew stayed on the ship as usual. Did you want to hold on to those warriors that you had hired, or are you going to release them? They're from Xambaala. I guess you probably would have discussed that ahead of time, so you guys can confer about that. Or do you want to keep them on? I think you have 9 or 12 warriors.
What do you think, Brig? Should we keep them?
Maybe we should keep a few to assist on the with the ship crew. Just maybe, what do you think? Maybe 4 of them for now.
Yeah, let's keep 4.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you've come into quite a bit of money, so that's really not going to be an issue to keep a crew. You had, let's see. So there's the leader, you'll keep that one. Then you had 11 spearmen, so I'll keep 3 spearmen plus the leader. And then your crew that you have is a captain, a navigator, and 9 crew, which is what you need basically. You could sail it with less, but that's ideally what you want. So you hold on to those, I guess. Okay,
Yeah, we'll keep
so
those.
you release those other guys from service. So, the ones that are most happy to be back. Some probably want to continue to seek adventure, and you see them hanging out at the docks, basically looking for another ship to board. Some were maybe more happy with their feet on the ground, so they've gone back to wherever families they might have had there. So yeah, you head off towards Temple of Helios, Brickhill, which is again in the center of town, the large center with all the shopping and everything. Off to the side, one part of the side of the town is in fact where Aramis has his hotel, basically, where you can see him as well. So let's see. All right, so let's do Brickhill first. So Brickhill, you come up to the Temple of Helios. If you remember, it's got it's kind of got the large steps going up. It's the tallest building here, really, with a giant statue of Helios and the golden roof. You immediately recognize it.
She walks up to the outside of it and reaches inside of her tunic around the necklace, the medallion of Helios that is around her neck, and touches it. And she looks behind her to make sure that she knows that Panesta and Revna aren't following her, but she just makes sure and looks behind them because she had to lie to them and tell them she was going to the market to look around, but she wants to make sure they're not following her. And when she's assured herself of that, she goes inside of the temple and looks for one of the nearest acolytes.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I mean, when you come through the door, there's the various chambers on the sides, and they're all more or less open. You can see that there's some that are occupied, it seems, with other worshippers, but you come upon an acolyte. He looks to be fairly young, like maybe only about 21 years old. He's actually sweeping in one of the rooms where they meet, and he looks up when he sees you look in. He says, have you come to pray, or to seek advice?
It is advice that I seek this moment. I also bring a donation for the God who shines light on some of us, but not all of us.
He kind of tilts his head a little curious, and he says, "Oh, well, of course, donations I would help keep the temple doors open. Please, please, have it." He puts his broom down in the corner. He kind of like pushes a chair, kind of, there's a table and he kind of pushes a chair for you to sit down, and he kind of goes around the other side and sits down and pulls his chair around. So he's kind of close, and he sits down. He says, "Come, sit. What is it that troubles you?"
I do not understand why that I've traveled many places across these lands, and the people who I travel with keep, it seems death always finds them, except me and one other that has traveled with me for some time. It seems that we keep going and the light does shine for both of us, but I try to present myself and I say silent prayers to protect these others, but it seems that death always finds them, and I do not understand why the light cannot shine for these people. Maybe you can tell me why.
He kind of looks down, as if he's thinking for a second, and he looks up and he says, "Well, as the seasons turn, as the years pass, just like here in Hyperborea, where the days become shorter or long, and long lives and pass on life and grow with long families. Some are meant for only a short time, but everything that they do will be important, even if it is only for a short moment."
She takes all this in from what he says, and she stands up her full height and figure, and she reaches to a belt pouch that is filled to the tie off and hands it to him and says, "Maybe this will help continuing to spread the word and showing people that the wisdom that you do. And all I can do is continue my journeys and try to show and spread the light that shines for some of us and maybe bring it to others. Thank you." As she turns to walk off.
He takes it. You hear his voice as you're kind of walking out of the room, and he says, "Be sure to always follow the light. You have a purpose and a meaning in this world."
"Yes, thank you," she says to him out loud, but under her breath, she mutters to herself, "The light leads me to the tavern now to drink."
Nice. Yeah, after you walk out, you hear footsteps, and if you look back, you see that he takes the pouch, and there's basically like a donation plate in the center of the temple. You've seen it before. He puts the money into it, and then he goes back to his sleeping. And so as this is going on, or took you time to get there, whatever. Back at Aramis, the home of Aramis, as you've been many times. There's a large gate. If you remember, the compound has a wall around it.
Yep.
And there is a gate in front with 2 guards. And as you approach, no longer ragtag adventurers, but now older and wiser and probably in better, more finery. They don't, draw the weapons. In fact, actually, you've been here a bunch of times. Actually, one of the guys knows who you are. He sees you and he says, "Ah, you have returned.
Yes,
You're here to see Aramis?"
I'm here to see them. Yes, I'm here to see Aramis and give him information about the trade.
Excellent. And he turns to the other guy who's with him, the other guard. He says, "Go get Aramis." And this guard says, "Believe it or not, some of your men who went with you to the island have already come by, seeking work. They move quick, these men."
Yes, they do. Very quickly indeed.
Yes.
What kind of work do they seek?
Well, apparently passage on more boats, but right now they're working on drinking some ale in the room. I think they have more money than they've ever had before.
Probably, and I'm sure they've seen some things that they've never seen before. So it does not
Indeed.
surprise me that they are drinking. I plan to do that myself eventually once we conclude our business.
Yes, I love to hear of adventure, but I'm pretty comfortable here. And he kind of pats he's got a little bit of a fat belly. He says, it's mostly safe.
Yes. And she'll laugh. Yeah, mostly safe. That's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and as you're there as well, Rush, if you want to say anything to this guy. But in any case, you see, probably as they're talking, maybe you notice first, Rebna, that you see Aramis. I don't think you met Aramis, but you see the other guard coming back with a man who's finely dressed, and he has a big smile on his face as he comes out of the building. And even from across the yard, he kind of raises his hand and he says, come in, don't keep them at the gate. And the guard, of course, opens the gate and lets you through. And you see Aramis, and the original guard goes up and watches the gate. Aramis is by himself. Doesn't have any guards on it with him as he approaches you. And he shakes your hand or whatever.
Yep. I'll say we're back from Krenvok. I'm here to give you your cut.
Excellent. You see him look to the side and he kind of like waves a hand. And then he says, I heard the adventure was pretty wild, or at least these are the stories that are being told. You've been back less than an hour, and already your brave warriors who slayed many beasts are back telling their stories to my girls.
Well, this time they're not lying. There were a lot of beasts to slay. Terrible beasts, actually.
Yes, well, there are many things going on here in Hyperborea, and as the winter comes, things can only get worse. Let's hope that
Yes.
what you did there will help stop the flow.
Well, I'm sure it will. Nobody disintegrated anything they shouldn't have, so I'm sure everything will be just fine.
Oh, I'm sure too. Am I now a kind of a younger guy that's also kind of dressed in fine clothes? He seems a little like uncomfortable in the fine clothes, like he doesn't wear them all the time. He kind of comes up and he looks at Aramis. He doesn't even like raise his eyes to you, and he says, this is my apprentice, Samuel. You may give the funds to him. He'll store it for us.
Okay, you have an apprentice, Samuel.
Well, as business grows and responsibilities are placed upon me, it's good to have someone, there to help.
Well, I agree. Yes. Can we? We've got quite a bit of money this time. I think maybe we'll stay here this time.
Oh, of course.
At least I will. I look at Revna. Revna is the newest member of our business venture. Revna,
yes.
Aramis. Yep.
So I give him a well-practiced and courteous bow.
He kind of looks at you and he gives also like a little bow. He says, I've heard much about you. Viking, huh? Kind of sizes you up.
She smirks and nods. Indeed.
Well, there's plenty of space if you'd like. Let's see. Yeah. There's, you want a private room, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. You could have the penthouse.
Thank you. I will take it.
Okay. He looks at the Samuel who's walking away and says, Samuel, have that the merchant removed from the penthouse. It'll be ready for you in a few hours.
As is only right. Okay.
Oh, man, shit.
I watch friends get disintegrated. I'm taking the penthouse. Um,
Pinesta's britches got about 2 sizes bigger.
I will say, I will ask Aramis, I will ask, I kind of take him out as Samuel goes away. I kind of just go closer to him and I'll say, any more interesting information from the Witch Queen's domain?
Interestingly enough, yes, I will come see you tonight.
Okay.
As he walks away, I just kind of lean over and I ask and I say, speaking of seeing you tonight or whatever, do you feel, I mean, I know you know this man, but I do not. Do you feel safe being in the penthouse by yourself?
I actually do, surprisingly enough. I've known Aramis for a while now. I think we'll be okay.
Okay. I just want to be sure because, I can be in the room without his knowing. So,
I understand and I appreciate the offer, but I think I'll be okay. I think that it'd be harder than you think to hide in here without him knowing. He seems to really have a good grasp on his establishment.
fair enough. I am simply doing my duty. And she kind of smiles and she's like,
Yes,
do you need anything else from me or?
I don't. I think we should all enjoy a drink.
Oh, well. You typically don't have to ask a Viking twice.
Nice.
Okay.
To the tavern for some pomegranate wine.
Do you want to go back to your old haunt, or do you want to drink here? Because there's, of course, you can drink here.
Might be
I want
nice
to find Brighill, I guess. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say it might be nice to find a place that didn't have so many ears.
Okay. Yeah, you can head back towards the. That makes sense. Or at least ears that might be listening.
Right. Exactly.
Brighild, as you're walking down the temple steps, to head off to wherever you're going to go, someone is heading up the stairs. That seems to have caught your eye. Crystal, tell us about your character.
I'm playing Rowan Siege in Gangrami. She's from the Fields of Vol. She's a pyromancer, and that's all I really got to say for now.
Okay. I'm gonna say, since you're both from the Fields of Vol, she looks familiar to you. If not, if you don't know her personally, the family maybe resemblance or something might look. She definitely
Brickyard
catches your eye.
stops for a moment when she sees her, and she goes back to being a child playing with her friends, and they're running up and down the tiny village that she actually grew up in. And she looks back and forth, and they're playing hide and seek. And one of the girls that sometimes they don't exactly see eye to eye runs out and pushes Brig down into the mud and starts laughing as Brig gets up. And she turns and looks back at this woman now standing outside the temple, and she goes, Is that you, Val? Is maybe this person that is walking up hears Brig mutter something, but not sure exactly what she says to her.
When Rowan Siege sees Brighild, she looks at her face and her eyes, and she's pretty sure she recognizes her from somewhere. And for just a moment, there's a flashback, and she remembers. Go on, Brig. Go on. Touch the embers. They won't burn you, I promise. She taunts Brighild into touching these embers, having always had an affinity for the fire and for the dances that they do. And she says, "Oh, as I live and breathe. Brighild, is that you?"
How do you know my name? I've seen you somewhere, but I don't, how do I know you?
Well, I believe we grew up near each other. I grew up in the fields of Vol. I think that from time to time we ran across each other.
Brigg stares at her blankly for just a moment as she relives memories in her mind. And then she goes, "You're the girl who always one day said you were going to control fire."
Yes. Well, we all have dreams and ambitions, of course. Some of us uh, sometimes meet them, and she is going to hold her hand out, and she's going to use one of her tricks that she has, called candlelight, which allows her to produce a flame in her hand. Uh, it allows her to produce a flame in her hand, basically. It's called candle. She can do it once a day per level. And she produces this flame in her hand. It sheds 15-foot worth of light and is just kind of like a candle light burning in her hand. And she just sort of plays with it a bit.
As you do that, Brigg turns and looks back towards the steps up to the entrance of the temple of Helios and looks back at you and she goes, "It would seem that the light also shines for you then."
Well, I certainly hope so. I come here enough, praying for the light, wanting to control it as Helios does.
What are you doing in this city though? What are you in search of besides knowledge of Helios?
Well, knowledge in general. My my party that I was traveling with actually just sort of decided to disband. And I guess they've had enough of the adventuring life, so now I seek a new party to travel with to find knowledge and adventure.
Maybe you should go with me and have a drink or two at this establishment. I've been to this city before a few times, and I'm supposed to meet the rest of my party there later. Maybe you should introduce, or I can, of course, help introduce you to them. And we are in need of, let's say that the light did not shine for some of our prior members and they are no longer with us.
Ah, well, that is a disappointment. But of course, the light does not shine for everyone.
But you are more than welcome to come with me. If you have business in the temple, I will wait on the steps here.
Oh, yes, I'll come and find you at the tavern.
And she tells, I don't remember the name of that place that we stayed at that time, but she gives you the name and directions to it.
Okay. The one where you guys actually stayed at, the not the one
Veteran's
where you
Luck.
met the, oh yeah, okay. But not the one where actually that wasn't Brighild that did that, right? Anyways, I was gonna say there was that other tavern where you met with the satrap's wife. That was 10.
Oh yeah, that was
It was
yeah,
Tan.
that was the
Yeah,
other
so-
the other.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. So apparently I had the stream set on private so people couldn't see it, but now it's public. If anybody's watching and you can see that, if let me know if my sound's okay. All right, perfect. Yeah, so we can just jump forward. Mike, did you want to be in Xambaala, or do you want to be in Glen?
I could be in Xambaala.
Yeah, why not?
Sure.
Well, we have a Viking, so let's say you guys go to the bar. You're going to be at the bar, am I? What's it called? The
That's
rusty
a likely
screwdriver.
place.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm not making any kind of judgments. Saturn's Luck. Yeah, Saturn's Luck is a popular place, to hang out and drink, and to tell great tales of your successes. And there is a Viking fighter type who is hanging out there. Mike, tell us about your character. What they'll see as they kind of walk in. I guess the first people who get there will probably be very killed. Tell us what you see, what she sees.
As you guys walk in, you will see this rather large mountain of a man. He's about 30, young 30s, black hair, brown eyes, quite muscular. He has a stool in each hand with a person sitting on it, and he's got them lofted. And he's got a glass of ale stuck between his teeth, and he's tipping the ale back and growling at the same time as he is hoisting these two gentlemen up in the air with his arms to the cheers of everyone else around him as the bets are piling up on the table in front of them. He then begins to lift one foot and starts to hop on one foot as he continues to balance the two men on the stool, as well as continue to drink the large cup of ale with his teeth. And that is Buka.
Excellent. Yeah. So, Bricula, you come in and you see this, and as soon as you come in, people immediately accost you and they're like, care to bet? Care to bet? He's going to drop that drink, or one of the men.
Brighild looks first at the person that's speaking to her, and then she looks towards seeing this imposing figure standing there, and she goes, well, of course he's going to drop it. And she picks up an empty mug on the table and throws and tries to hit him in the knee with it to make his knee buckle.
Make a test of strength. Let's see.
That is so messed up.
Make a test of strength to not drop something. Go ahead.
A test of strength?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm guessing you're strong. Oh, yeah, barely though. You weren't expecting that, so you're kind of like, what? But yeah, he manages to stay up even with that getting knocked in the knee.
Yeah, and if he looks towards Brighill's way, she's going to take her head, and kind of turn her and toss her hair and kind of nod towards the guy standing to her, like, that's really who threw it.
Oh, hold on. Yeah, the guy at first he smiles big at Buka, and then he realizes like what you meant by that, and he quickly finishes his drink and makes his way out the door. And as he's kind of pushing his way out, Penesta and Revna are coming in. You see Brighill.
Yeah, Brighill will turn. Yeah, she'll turn and look towards Penesta and Revna, and she goes, "Look at this mountain of a man. He seems pretty steady on his feet, even though with his drink. He took a stumble a minute ago, but he's still standing. Maybe, you think someone like that we could use?"
Nesta looks at him and she'll say, yes, I think we could find a use for someone like that.
So Revna, not even waiting for Brighill to finish her sentence, basically walks. Does he still have the guys hoisted on the on the stools?
Yeah, he succeeded his test. He still got him.
So and he's Viking, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So
You are Viking, right, Mike? Sorry.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah. So she walks up and Revna, obviously Viking with the neck tattoos, the interwoven knotwork, all that stuff. She walks up while you're hoisting all that stuff up, and she speaks loudly in Old Norse, uh, and she's like, finally, and I don't know how many else of the people in here would be able to understand Old Norse from it, but she's like, finally, in this damnable part of the world, a real man shows up, and then while he's holding him, she doesn't try to like make him fumble, but she just kind of reaches forward and just kind of like gives him a sock right in the chest, but not hard enough to make him drop anything. And she basically just says, "It's good to see you, brother."
Gonna finish that drink.
Yeah, Buka will try to end that drink as quickly as possible and spits out the lager cup and says perhaps something a bit kinder and gentler would be a more appropriate welcome from such a handsome woman as you.
Oh, well, she didn't like strike you as to like punch you. It was more one of those friendlies, like, sock in the arm kind of a thing. She's just like so happy to see another Viking right now.
Oh yeah.
Kind of a thing. Um, so she introduces herself as Revna and of Eriksgard. So I am Revna of Eriksgard. She said, "Come, we have had good luck as of late, and I have fine drinking partners. Come, drink with us."
He said, well, I'm kind of in the middle of something right now.
Oh, well, oh. She looks at the other two and said, "What did you boys do to piss him off?"
But
Or
they're laughing and stuff. I don't think they're part of the competition.
It's just a friendly wager.
oh, well, when you're finished winning, come on over and have a drink.
Yes, I shall do that.
Yeah, the guys on the stools, they say, you have to drink one more before you put us down or you're not going to win.
And I will bend over on the table and pick up the last one with my teeth, and I will toss it back.
Right.
As Revna leaves, she's going to lean over to one of the guys on the stool and go, "Have you ever tried to tell a Viking that he lost?" And then she's just going to keep walking.
I look at Brighill, I say, yeah, I definitely think that we could use this guy.
Yeah, Revna makes her way back over to where Brig and Pinesta are.
Nice. Okay, yeah. So you all end up at a table together, trading stories and whatnot. Is there anything else you want to do in Xambaala while we're here?
Well,
Do you want?
Aramis was going to give me information, right? So
That's right. Yeah, but I mean, while we're here in the Saturn's Luck.
oh, in the south.
Yeah.
Not me.
No, I'm good.
Just
Okay.
have some
Yeah, yeah.
drinks.
Cool. Yeah, so we can we can come forward. So you guys are from, or where you've been, where you plan on going. Rowan will come in, and you see a lively party happening. With
Brighill would have mentioned to the rest of them, about meeting someone that from her area about, that she's supposed to come by to kind of interview. But she tells Pinesta, maybe you should speak to her and see if she was kind of a mischievous young girl, but maybe she can help us.
Okay, I'll trust your judgments. Let's see. Is that her? And I'll wave her over, I guess.
Yeah, Rowan Sage will join you and say good evening.
Greetings. I'm Pinesta. And I heard that you might be willing to go on an adventure.
Oh yes, I'm always willing to travel in search of knowledge.
Oh, well, I definitely approve of that. I'm a seeker of sorts myself. I just seek songs and stories and the occasional knowledge as well. We've it will be dangerous though. It doesn't seem to matter what we try to do, it's dangerous.
Well, I believe most good adventures are.
Good. And you know Brickhilt?
Ah, yes. We grew up in the fields of Vol together. It's odd seeing you have become an adventurer, Brighild. I never saw that in your future.
Now, there are many things that we do not see as younger children.
Well said.
Well, what skills do you have? Can you row are you familiar with boats, or what is your?
Oh, well, back in the fields of Vol, I was a miller actually, but since then I have studied the flame.
Oh,
I managed to, or at least try to manage to control it.
well, that's all we can ask of anybody is that they try. I look at Brickhill, I say, I think it'll work.
Yes, sometimes maybe the word destiny is used, or just we met in the market, and as you hear that, Rowan, Bricky would say that we met at the market. You know, you probably think, no, we didn't, but she looks at you like just go along with it.
Yes. Yes. Quite a quite an ordeal meeting you here. Still, it just must have been destiny, as you say.
Well, welcome, Rowan Seach.
Thank you, Panesta.
Well, I think this calls for another round of drinks. And I'll put up my hand and throw out a few gold.
Yes, I mean it's the penthouse.
I thought the
Bricky was going to stay at the place she's at now because she's going to have a night of drinking and visiting and partying.
thought the penthouse was only one private room for you. Oh. Uh, hmm. You know, Panesta says that she feels safe, and I haven't, since I've met you guys, I haven't had the opportunity to have a proper sit down and drink and have food at a table. And so, yeah, I think I'm going to stay.
We're having all kinds of problems today. There are women and men that are working, as prostitutes basically, and of course barkeeps and waitresses and stuff. And Aramis sees you, and he kind of does a signal, and one of his employees brings over the key to the penthouse room.
Thank you.
Yeah. So basically, you know how to get there. There's basically just a set of stairs that go up. You've been there before. Well, you've been upstairs before, anyways. As soon as you get to the top of the stairs, if you were to go up there, it's the first door on the right.
Okay.
But yeah, so if you're going to just go up to your room, then you would go up the stairs, the first door on the right. You go in. It's a large penthouse. There's like a bath. A hot bath has been drawn. There's like a cover over it. So there's a maid in there. As soon as you come in, they pull the cover off, so you can see the steam come up off the bath. Large rugs scattered about. There's obviously a bed. And there's also some, there's a balcony, basically, like a large balcony area. And the maid says to you, do you need anything else?
No, I think I'm good. Just have some pomegranate wine sent up, please. The good stuff.
Okay, she nods, and then she says, just ring and I will be at your service. And she leaves through the front door.
Okay, I'm gonna take a bath.
Okay. Yeah, you take a bath. I mean, a few hours go by, and you hear a knock at the door.
Okay, I'll go and I'll just open it. Yep.
So you open the door, and Aramis is there. I mean, they had already sent out the wine, so hours had gone by. So,
Yeah.
But he comes up, and he's got another bottle of wine.
Okay.
And he says, he looks around. He says, "Yeah."
Of course. Thank you for the room. It's wonderful, truly, to wash the dust of the and the salt of the sea from me. Thank you.
Yes, for sure. He nods. You actually notice too that actually in the hallway, what's really a balcony, there's a chair there, and you see the maid. She's sitting there.
Okay.
So, and then he comes in, and he basically he gets right to it. He says, "We've intercepted the correspondence to the Witch Queen, and none of my sages can make anything out here at the library." And he hands you a kind of a rolled parchment.
Okay. I'll take it, and I will unroll it.
Yeah, as soon as you touch it, you realize it doesn't feel like parchment to you. It feels a little bit strange. And he says, "Oh, we believe that it is made from skin." I probably should have told you that first.
Yeah, and she kind of looks at her fingers. She's like, "Yeah, that's a good guess."
Yeah, and you think that's pretty much right on. It's kind of and likely like human skin, like not like an animal skin.
Okay.
Yeah, and he says, "We can't make heads or tail of it, but it must be important, for it was in a scroll tube." And he kind of shrugs.
Do you know where it originated? Who it was from?
We're not sure. But it was being sent to her. It came in through the port somewhere. One of the ships.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, the shipment had been coming in from Port Zeres, and it was actually in a shipment that was broken into, and the person who broke into the shipment took the scroll, like it was hidden in a shipment. A shipment of cattle.
Hidden in a shipment of cattle.
Yeah, so they basically saw somebody, they saw a man or possibly a woman in there cutting the stomach open of an ox, and pulled out this scroll case and ran with it. And then we sent some trackers after them, and we stopped them in the desert on the way to the Witch Queen.
So someone else is interested in this.
Someone is sending it to her, that's for sure.
Yeah.
To what end, we don't know. Yeah, he kind of looks down at his hands. He says, "Well, we can't save everyone."
She's still collecting them.
As far as I
This
know.
has not stopped.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't heard anything else specifically, but I mean, that's the rumors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the sages of the library didn't know anything about this. What
Yeah.
about any of the priests? Have you asked Helios or Rel?
He says they seem to be well, and they can't make heads or tails of it. He kind of, goes with that, and he kind of like, signaled to you to look at it.
Yeah, I'll look at it.
It's blank.
Blank human skin. Okay.
Yes.
Well,
We're guessing there was some kind of message, as this is not an uncommon way to send messages, but there's nothing that we can tell written on it. What I'm hoping that you could do is bring it back to the Hyperboreans in Khromarium. It could be some ancient technology is needed to reveal what the message is.
right. It's possible. I certainly have seen some very strange things recently. So I can do that. I'll take it to the Hyperboreans in Khromarium.
Okay. He nods. He says, "Okay. I thank you. If you're going, whatever your next port is, let me know. I might be able to get you some trade goods."
Okay.
Then he kind
Thank
of
you.
like nods. He puts the bottle down on the table and then turns around and walks out.
All right. I'll roll the parchment or the skin back up, and I'll do some more drinking. Tell my friends in the morning.
Princess in a bubble bath with the wine.
Exactly. Yep.
So yeah, we cut to the morning. So you guys wake up in the Saturn's Luck, in the back room, where there's just like straw mats on the ground that cost a copper piece, where you guys had a good night of drinking. People are serving breakfast, toast and jam and that kind of thing with butter. And I guess we'll just put you both, unless you want something else, we'll just put Panesta with you guys so we can
That's fine.
move to the next scene. Okay. Yeah, so Panesta will get up early and head over there. Yeah, you see the group. Maybe they're hungover, maybe they're not. I don't know. Should we do test of constitution? How hard you guys drink?
Hard enough, but not that hard, I don't think.
Brickhill wrote a 1 on her test of cons, so
Nice.
she partied, but she did pretty good.
Yep.
Just rock steady.
Rocksteady. She is formidable.
She is.
Or
Awesome.
imposing, excuse me.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, Buka's good.
I'm good.
Yeah. And so from the grave, it looks like they're okay.
I didn't mean to. I'm trying to.
Takes a lot
trying
to put
find
down a
my
dead
thing
man.
now.
All right, hold on.
Yeah.
I guess I gotta. Whoop. All right, what am I rolling? Test of
Test
con?
of Constitution. Yep.
I don't think my constitution's very high. Test of con?
Yeah. Oh. Maybe you were so excited to see another Viking that you decided to push it a little further than you thought.
I barely failed it, but still. And that was probably a terrible idea.
Nice.
Apparently, I failed too. My con.
Nice. All right, yeah. So you guys feel a little bit. I mean, it's not gonna be any mechanical effect, but you guys feel a little bit like you don't really want to get up. Your eyes like stuck together, but it's not anything mechanical. Everybody's up, kind of buttering their toast and having breakfast. As Presta comes in.
Yeah, Brickhill looks over towards Rowan and goes, "Where's the fire at this morning, my lady?"
I think that wine had a bit more bite than I anticipated. She says as she rubs her head.
Oh, yes, they have only the strongest here.
Indeed.
Good stuff. Nice.
Seeing them, I would go over there and, well, you all look, well, most of you look good. I
And
had
the
an
rest of us
interesting-
look terrific.
Yes, that's right. You do. She says, "You're tall, right, Buka?"
Yes.
Yeah, because Vanessa's short. She's only like 5'1", so she looks up at you. Yes, you're looking quite well this morning, Mr. Longtooth.
Why, thank
Hi.
you. I just kind
Hi.
of pat you on your head a little bit.
Oh, you know, most people who do that to me don't tend to live very long. But it's not a threat. I'm just saying it seems to be a correlation. People pat me on the head and then they die in a dungeon. So
Could be a curse.
but no, I just yeah. I said, but I
Yes.
did get some interesting information last night, or at least perhaps some interesting information. And I kind of call everybody over and I will explain about the skin and I will show it to them and I'll say, it's blank, but there's got to be some reason why somebody went and cut it out of an ox's stomach.
What exactly does Aramis want you or us to do?
He thinks that because the Witch Queen is is still collecting Hyperboreans, that it's perhaps the Hyperboreans in Khromarium who may be able to help us read this. It could require some sort of ancient technology or a method that they're aware of.
When, good.
Revna is curious if I don't know how a pyromancer gets their power, if they have to study it, or if it's like a sorcerer type of thing where it's innate. But is there anything in my studies that would have that I would have thought, hey, that sounds familiar?
Yeah, well, so to answer your question, you study all the magic using classes, even clerics in this game study for their spells and their knowledge. So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you've definitely, heard of spells that can render things invisible and such. But I mean, being that she's saying that the sages here, they probably tried that kind of stuff, the basic detect magic or whatever. That, you could certainly try things, but that would be basically it. Like, it's nothing very specifically that. However, when Brighild leans forward to look at the parchment, a lock of your white hair kind of crosses in front of your eye, like kind of falls in front of your eye, and you think for a second you see like writing on the map, like writing of a map, I should say, of it. But then as soon as the hair passes before your face, you don't see it anymore. And when you kind of try to like hold it up again to do it again, you don't see it anymore. So it's just like a glimpse. You think you see what is writing or possibly a map on it.
Yeah,
Well,
she continues to stare at it and then shakes her head and she says, Rowan, is your wits about you? Maybe you should look at this also.
I've heard of inks that disappear unless you hold them in front of a certain kind of light or something like that, and maybe that's what's going on here. And she actually looks toward Rowan as like for her opinion on that, because
Yes, I've heard of that as well. And
Well, just to
Rowan,
be clear, nobody saw it but Brighild. Brighild saw it. Nobody else did.
no,
What I
no,
just
I
explained
was
before.
gonna say that regardless.
Yeah, no, I
Like
understand. Okay, but no, just
it's
so
a
you're sure.
blank parchment, and it's like, well, they
Mhm.
tried to detect magic, but the ink may not be magic. It could be just like a disappearing ink.
Yeah. No, I know. Just
So
so it's clear before we get into all role play.
gotcha.
Yeah, sure. What do you want to do?
uh,
Put it near the fire?
yeah, Rowan Seach is gonna use candle. I'm gonna create a small flame on her
Mhm.
hand, and she's just gonna kind of gently, like, quickly rub it over the map and kind of like under it, or not map, but parchment.
You're gonna
Uh,
touch it with the fire.
no, not touch it, just like near it to see if
Shining the light all around it, I think
yeah,
is what you.
shining the light and see if the heat does anything. not like setting it on fire.
All right, so you're going to take fire and put it real close to the thing to see if the heat affects it. So you're going to get it hot, basically, with the fire. And use the light from it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't seem to make any kind of a difference. It seems like it's, you don't really notice anything. Like, but what you do notice is it's fairly thick. And that when you put the light underneath it, you don't really see much light coming through it. You see a little bit, of course, but not like a piece of paper. Like it's fairly thick. Like you don't think it'd be that easy to light it on fire. You certainly could light it on fire, but you would imagine. But it's not like super flammable by any means. It's fairly thick and almost kind of rubbery. It definitely feels like skin. It doesn't feel like super dried skin. It feels like skin. Like,
Ugh.
yeah.
Runsage will say, well, the flame does nothing, and she kind of like claps her hand and puts the flame out. And she says, I do have other means to be able to identify magical items and their properties. If you would want me to investigate this, it, it requires a sacrifice of some kind of gem or jewelry.
Well, we have a couple of those.
A couple.
1 or 2. 100.
It requires a sacrifice of 100 gold pieces worth of treasure. It can be gold, gems, anything.
Oh yeah, we can do that.
Okay,
Gold.
It takes a little while for this to work. Takes one turn to actually be able to do it. It requires
Okay.
6 turns to cast in a peaceful environment.
6 turns?
Mm-hmm.
That's an hour then, yeah.
Would you be against it if I just wanted to sit and observe, if I do so very, very quietly?
No, not at all. If everyone's willing to wait the time it takes.
Yeah, you'll probably have to go somewhere because you're in a bar in the morning when food's being served. So, I mean, I don't know. What spell is it? If it's
It's on 185.
okay.
When we go
I
to
have a feeling
that,
you'll need
to like that library, would it be?
Or
Definitely with
Pinesta's penthouse? Oh,
Pretty
seriously?
sure I only had that for the night, but
Oh. No, okay.
I mean, you have it as long as you're in town. I mean, you're paying for it.
oh, that's true. We could go either way, the library or the penthouse. We need to go to the library anyway to sell stuff and right.
I'm sure they have private rooms at the library.
Yep.
Private studies.
Yep. And if Rowan-Sage needs to concentrate, it wouldn't be amiss that she's just sitting there staring at a piece of skin for an hour. So.
Oh yeah, I mean, you've dealt with them before, especially if you're bringing those items to them. So yeah, you show up at the library, after you get your food or whatever, and it's the same as those same two guys that you always see there, and they kind of look up. They're looking at dusty books, and they kind of look up, they kind of squint a little bit. They've seen you now several times, so you can see some recognition in their eyes, and they say, it's always good when somebody returns after doing research. Sometimes the research leads them places where they don't return from.
Mm.
Well, not everybody returned with us, but we're here.
Well, welcome back. How can we help you? And he kind of closes the book and he pushes it to the side. I'm sure what you're looking for is much more interesting.
Well, we have some things to sell. If you're interested.
Oh, sure. There's always buyers here. So the guy who's talking to you looks at the other guy who is still reading, and he kind of like looks up and he's like, "Oh yeah, of course." He kind of pushes. What do you got? He has like a monocle.
A monocle?
Yeah. Well, how do you see stuff?
Okay. Well, we have the book, right?
That's it, right? That's the other thing you're selling. Oh yeah, he
Yeah.
looks at it. He kind of looks at it. Remember, it's like a chunk. So this book is this like chunk that looks like it's a piece of like marble broken with kind of what look like graphics of words kind of swirling all around it. He kind of looks at it, but they're going really slow, you know. He kind of looks at it for a second and he says, "Oh, well, this is interesting. I'll need to take it and see what it is, of course, and we'll see what we can do."
If you buy this, you can't. You shouldn't sell it to anybody in blob form.
I was supposed to say,
Oh yes,
if
well, we don't. Sure, we don't typically. He smells a little bit of like the alcohol on the breaths of everybody. And he's like, "Oh yeah, of course. We don't usually deal with blobs around here."
we already know what the book does, don't we?
Oh, I mean,
Yeah.
you know what you were told.
Yeah, so I look at the librarian guy and I was like, well, before you just, I don't know. Now I look over at Pinesta and the others. It's like, do we want to just let him walk away with it?
We have let him with other things.
Okay.
He's never not come back.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah,
these
Gosh,
these
you guys-
men have been very helpful in the past. I don't fear any.
so I
Came
look at the
from
two
them.
librarians and I say, I'm sorry. I don't, trust is difficult for me. Please
Oh,
forgive
it's okay.
me.
No, this is a business. Understandable. You'd probably just have us mistaken for the Temple of Rel. And he winks. And then he kind of scoops it up, and yeah, so you would remember too, and maybe you would have told Rever. I'll tell you, they basically they're like brokers. So these guys, you know, they'll sell it and they take a percentage. So this is like a business that they do. So he takes it. I mean, he's got to be sure what it does. You could tell him what you think it does, but he's got to be sure before he can actually sell it. So it's going to take him a day, he says. And he just brings it. I mean, he doesn't bring it very far. He literally lifts it up and moves it like over to a table in the back and sets it down. And then he actually leaves because he has to go get the magician to a bug just flew. Anyways, to get the magician to do the identify.
It's too bad we don't have someone who could make the crystal automatons. That would be cool. Oh well.
Yeah, I'm not really. I don't think I'm quite advanced enough in the magical arts.
And you need a willing brain,
And
Yeah.
and that.
which you had at one point.
We had it until
Yeah,
somebody
unfortunately.
got eaten by a crab.
But anyways, yeah. So he's
I
going to
didn't
get
quite
the
hear
magician.
that.
I mean, that brain would have been very useful. She definitely would have paid you a lot of money if you had done that. But yeah, he's going to get it identified, and he'll know tomorrow. He says.
Okay.
And the other guy just kind of looks at you and he says, "Anything else? Information, books. I have so many books." And he kind of.
Well, do you have information? I'm sure you have lots of information on Hyperboreans.
Of course. Well, as much as you can have on Hyperboreans, of course. Much of it was destroyed during the Green Death. Well, actually, much of it was destroyed before the Green Death when they were, shall we say, kind of looks around to make sure that you're like, nope, there's no Hyperboreans around, which there wouldn't be. But he looks around anyways, you know, and he goes, decadent, I guess is the polite way to say it.
I see. Do you have any books on their technology or their linguistics or anything like that?
Yeah, of course, the language of Hyperborea. Technology. People often find artifacts, shall we say, but they're rare to be sure.
Okay. I didn't know if you know if they had a way to write something and then hide what they wrote.
Oh, maybe. Let me see what we got. And he
Okay.
he turns and walks up the stairs. To, you know, because the books are upstairs. Remember. And they kind of leave you alone, sitting there for a little bit. And then after a little bit, he comes down. He says, "Well, I've collected these volumes." He's got 3 books. This one here is on the language of the Hyperboreans, and these 2 are on the known artifacts.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. And he goes, he kind of points to there's a fresh lamp in there.
Thank you. I say, and I look at the rest and say, we don't all have to read these. Someone could help me, but if you have the things you want to do, don't feel like you have to just sit here and watch me read.
Yeah, well, I guess, I mean, I don't know, if you want to do that, identify, you can do that in the room. So you won't be bothered in there.
Yeah.
Rowan. What about the rest? You're just going to hang out?
I'm with Rowan.
Yeah, Brig, read one of the books or whatever that Vanessa has.
Okay. Okay. Let me see. Okay, yes, you just have to do the ritual, which takes an hour, basically. And then, I mean, you have 1 turn per cast level, so you have plenty of time, because I think it only takes a turn to identify it, it looks like.
Yeah,
1
and
turn prep
she would
identify.
she'd also tell everyone if they had any extra items that they wanted looked at. She can also look at those, because I mean she'll have a lot of time to look at different things if there was any other magical items that they have questions about, or items period they have questions about.
I don't think I do.
Okay. Yeah, so go ahead and so you sit down for an hour. Everybody's reading the books. Let's just go through everything. So, I mean, there's 3 books that 3 people could read if anybody else is a reader. I don't know if Revna is a reader. I'm not going to say that Puka is probably not a reader. I mean, I don't want to make that decision.
I would almost say I'd have to be if I'm a magician.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody who's reading the books can roll a d6 to garner any information about them. Lower is better. So go ahead, Rush. I guess I'll go to them. Roll me d6. Yeah, it seems to kind of nothing in there really seems to be connecting, to what you're looking for, anyways.
This book doesn't have enough pictures.
Yeah. Go ahead, roll for me as well, Tony, for Breakhill.
I had a 1.
Oh, all right.
Nice.
Yeah, you have you're pretty sure that nothing in the Hyperborean artifacts that have been found seems like what's happening here. Like nothing, no technology seems to invent or create any kind of like invisible writing. Because of course you're the only one that knows that there's actually possibly something written on there. But what you do find that's interesting is a story about a Hyperborean sorcerer who created a stronghold to protect themselves from the gods, specifically the frog god, toad god, Zathaqua. And you're good that you got this actually, because you got a glimpse of that, the images on that parchment. It kind of seems similar in shape and form. It's almost like a zaggorat, which isn't that unusual, I guess, but it's kind of very wide at the bottom. It's almost just a very like wide and low ziggurat, I guess I say. And you kind of see that general shape used in this fortress, we'll call it, that's protection from the gods. And you think that you saw.
When she puts all that together, she speaks to Pinesta and kind of tells her, let's take a smoke break, and go outside. And when just them 2 go outside, she shares everything with just Pinesta. She tells her about the earlier incident with the scroll for just a moment. I mean, the parchment appearing to have some type of writing, and then tells her about what she just discovered in that book. But that just with Pinesta for right now.
Interesting. You say it appeared to you earlier?
Yes, I just kind of put it off to, maybe being a little still groggy and sleepy from staying up too late the night before. But now after reading in this book, maybe there really was something to it.
I think you're right. And you're not really given to flights of fancy or that kind of thing, Brighild. I trust you implicitly. I definitely think we need to go to Khromarium.
Yes, let's see what Rowan can come up with, if anything, as she finishes her observation of it. And maybe she'll have some enlightenment for us, but I definitely think we should continue this also.
Okay. And Brig, how are you holding up? Are you okay?
Oh yes, I'm much better since we've come to this location. I feel much more myself, and running into Rowan as we did. It's just, I guess it would be meant to be. I think she'll do well for us, and this very large man we have found, I think he can handle the what needs to be done in that department also.
I agree. And I'm glad you're doing better now that we're away from that terrible place. All right.
Yes, that was enough of the death and destruction and mayhem. I believe our path will continue much better now.
I agree. And I'm just really, really happy that you're still here. And she gives her a quick hug and then really fast and then backs away, like she's embarrassed about it. But
And I don't know if we should share all this with the rest of them yet. I trust Rowan, but sometimes Revna, I don't know. I think sometimes she has alternate plans with. It's up to you if you want to share this information.
well, we'll keep it to ourselves for now. They know that we want to go to Khromarium because of what Aramis said, and then we'll know whatever Rowan has to say. So.
Yes, that sounds good to me also.
Okay.
Cool. So yeah, so you're having this conversation outside. So Rowan, you an hour has gone by because obviously they had to read the books or whatever, and you're studying this this parchment or skin scroll or whatever you want to call it. Go ahead and make me a sorcery saving throw.
Okay. Rowan Seach sits in the middle of a room with a large drawing out with the coins surrounding her, and as she finally finishes her spell, flames spring up from the symbol, and they seem to come in like they're going to consume her, but they stop at the line of coins, and the coins hold them back. And she says, "Reveal to me your secrets," as she looks at this scroll and fails her saving throw.
Excellent. You're looking at this piece of skin, and you see, like, it seems to like bubble up, and you can't bring yourself away from staring at it. It seems to bubble up, and then it peels open in the center, and you see an eyeball inside, and it's just staring at you. Like, you can't blink, you can't turn away. You're just like staring at this thing, and you are going to suffer madness.
Nice. Oh, Lord.
That's the proper way to bring in a new character. I gotta find the random madnesses.
Fine. Keep your secrets then.
Glad I decided to come in here while you went crazy.
Let's see. Madness 264. Here we go. All right, it's a d20 roll. Roll me d20. Let's see what
I
kind
had
of
that
madness
effect on
we-
other women.
Okay. 4.
4. Ah, fantastic. Hallucinations. You so anyways, this whole thing happens and you just can't, like, your eyes almost feel like you feel like, because this thing lasts for, you guys come in the room and you see her just staring at it. You assume she's doing some kind of magic spell. She's literally just staring at this piece of paper. And then how level are you? 7? Or you cast to level 7?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, over an hour past the time that the spell activates, so almost 2 hours. She's just staring at this thing, and then finally, like your eyes, because they're just wide open, you don't blink once. They're just so dried up, and they start like getting bloodshot, and like as soon as the spell finally ends, and you kind of drop the paper down into your lap, you kind of close your eyes, and it almost feels like the sandpaper inside of them. And you open them up, and you just see like everywhere, in every nook and cranny of the room, all between bricks and candles, anything that looks at even the slightest round shape appears to be an eyeball staring at you.
Okay.
However, make a d6 roll with a 5 and 6 chance that you would recognize this, because it makes sense that you would. Oh,
1.
you recognize that the that symbol, the eyeball, is most commonly associated with Zathakwa, the frog god. His symbol is usually an eyeball, and you are seeing them everywhere.
Rowan Seach just says, he's everywhere. He's watching us always. Always. He sees everything.
And that's pretty accurate.
Revenant just kind of backs out of the room real slow. We're still in the study, right?
Yep. Yeah, you hear the librarian. Shh.
I kind of back out of the little study like real slow, and then immediately do the fast walk over to where Brig is, since I know they know each other. And I just fast walk over there, and I was like, "You need to go check on your friend. Something is really, really wrong with her."
What do you mean by that? Is she spouting off stories from our childhood again?
No, I think she's having hallucinations. She was studying that parchment, and now she's yeah, you probably need to go check on her.
Okay, I will then.
Something is wrong.
She nods at Pinesta to, come that way also, but she'll go in first.
Yep, I'll go in.
Yep. As she starts walking back behind him, she's like, "Yeah, she's about 3 arrows short of a quiver."
If we go in, is she still freaking out?
Yeah, you would still be under the impression when you see them, like anything that might be on their bodies, like if they have any buttons or anything like that, that like immediately look like eyeballs, like they're staring at you. If not, then you don't see anything. Anything round, basically, just looks like an eyeball as they walk in. But you still recognize them. You can just see the eyeballs, and they seem to be like moving around and like, yeah, unblinking at that.
Yeah, she kind of like scrambles back at the wall to like get away from the eyeballs, and she just says, "He's watching us. He's watching us. He's watching us all the time. He's watching us everywhere. Don't you see him? Don't you see him?"
Let me just take that, and I'll take the parchment. I'll look at Brickhill and I'll say, "Do you want to try to calm her down, or shall I?"
Well, let me see if I can do something. And Brickhill starts muttering some words, and you see one of her hands begin to emanate this kind of violet, purplish glow around from her. And she's going to take that hand and just slap her across the face with an unarmed strike. And I'm actually casting Chill Touch to try to just, sap her out of this. I mean, it's going to cause a little damage, but she has to make a sorcery saving throw.
The magic word is chill. Bap.
Chill touch makes people chill. Go ahead and make a saving throw.
Yep, sorcery saving throw, Kristen.
Sorcery saving throw, Ron.
Okay. Failure.
Okay.
All right, she will actually become weakened, suffering penalties of -1 on attack and damage rolls for the balance of the duration, which is 1 turn. Okay. So as soon as I strike you, the hand, it goes back to normal, and she says, "Snap out of this, Rowan. Something has taken over. You come back to yourself."
Okay, I think that's probably. I think the shock of it's probably will get you, at least for now. The eyes like all blink shut and everything's gone again. I mean, you still remember seeing them, but they're not there anymore.
Yeah. She's just kind of breathing heavy and hard as this spell takes a lot out of her, and she just starts blinking her eyes and just out of nowhere just starts crying uncontrollably.
Right, because you also
Yeah,
take a massive.
Bricky will help her, sit down and back in the chair or whatever.
Because you also take a massive drop in con, right, temporarily. I think for
Yeah.
24 hours. Yeah. Or no, 8 hours or
Yeah,
10
for
hours or
8
something.
hours.
Yeah. And it didn't drop you below 3 though, right? So you're
It did not.
okay. Yeah, so you don't pass out or anything.
I'll go over to Rowan's seat and I'll ask, darling, what happened? Why
I
did the parchment, was there some sort of magic that affected you?
believe it must be cursed or protected by some sort of sorcery. I believe the frog god watches over it.
The frog god. Okay. We dealt with, I mean, I don't know.
At least it is not the crab god.
You're right. Or the Migos god.
Right. Yeah, I mean, Zaclapa is pretty common in Hyperborea. Unfortunately, it is a god of chaos, but it's not like it's an uncommon god to worship.
Right. That's why Pinesta's like, it could be just about anybody then who, yeah, who did this.
She's Revenant's like, crab god, frog god, uh the other god. When do we get to meet, I don't like, the beer god or the god of pillows?
Um,
She says with a sarcastic tone.
Well, maybe you can make yourself useful enough right now, Revenant, to go bring a pitcher of water for Rowan. She needs to regain her wits about her.
Water or something stronger?
Oh no, nothing stronger now. She had too much the night before. This may have brought on the failure that she just happened.
Yeah. So without any words, she leaves to go to the librarians and tell them that she needs them to fetch a pitcher of water and a cup. And she kind of gives them the hairy eyeball look, and she's like, "And I need you to do it right now."
Okay, yeah, he goes over. There's like an area where there's a pitcher with water. Picks it up, gives you a cup and a pitcher of water.
Yep. So I take it back.
Takes like the cup and fills it with water, and rather than drinking it, she just like starts pouring it into each of her eyes.
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, you see that her eyes are like super bloodshot. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, she basically had her eyes open for 2 hours without blinking. So
Maybe we should get her back to her room and let her rest the remainder of this day.
I agree. We can set off for Khromarium tomorrow. I definitely think we need to take this to somebody who might have some expertise.
Yeah, I have no interest in messing with it anymore after this.
Oh, I just want to get someone who knows about it to mess with it for me.
No, yeah, no, I get it. And after seeing what it did to her, I don't have any interest in
Yeah.
messing with it.
Yeah, what about this blobby fellow that you talk about? This great wizard.
He's special.
It isn't that I don't trust him, Buka, it's just I don't really trust him. And I'm afraid if we give this to him, he'll either disappear with it or do something terrible with it.
Oh, well, that's fair enough.
Yeah, I don't know him very well, and he made some admissions that were a little disturbing, so I need to blob too. And I don't think he's Hyperborean, and Aramis said that maybe the Hyperboreans would know.
Hmm.
If you're willing to come with us to Khromarium, though, Buka.
Well, you seem like interesting people.
You could always stay here and balance the bar stools if you'd like.
It's not worth that much money. And you seem to have more in your pockets than these fools around here.
Unless you'll find your way into a proper fight.
Oh, I have no fears about finding myself a proper fight.
My point exactly. A real Viking shouldn't.
Nice. Okay, so I mean, they're going to identify this and set this item for sale. Did you want to wait here for it, or are you just going to leave in the morning?
Oh, I guess we should wait.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't wait, then they're going to have to. I mean, you have, obviously connections, so money can be sent to you, of course, wherever you go. You just want to have it immediately.
No, we'll wait. I don't know
And of
if
course,
I.
ships
Yeah.
can be rated and stuff.
Yeah, I'm not sure I trust the Hyperborean equivalent of Western Union.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah, it'll probably take a couple of days. So why don't we take a break now, a 10-minute break, and then we'll come back. We'll deal with that, and then we'll get you to Khromarium, and if we want to stop on the way at Vicland, we can do that as well. So let's take
Okay.
10 minutes.
Sounds good.
Break. All right, we are back. All right, so you guys, with an exhausted pyromancer in tow, and your skin scroll, we'll call it, you leave the library. You're told that he'll have an answer for you as far as selling it in a day or so. So, you spend a little bit of time resting, kind of setting yourself up. Aramis will, you're going to Khromarium, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Aramis will arrange for a load of goods, so you guys can make money while you're traveling, to go to Khromarium. And after a couple of days, they find a buyer. Of course, we already discussed this offline before, but you can make the sale to them. They get their commission and everything, and I already put that money into the stuff from last time. But so you guys are sitting on like a lot of gold from selling the magic item, as well as those diamonds still. Is there anything else you want to do in Xambaala?
Not me.
I think I'm good.
Okay, perfect. So you're able to set sail, and we're not going to play out the whole trip. The trip to Khromarium from Xambaala is fairly long. I believe we calculated at the one time. I think it's like 2.5, 3 months. So we'll say it's uneventful. The days are getting shorter as winter is approaching. You make a few periodic stops to get water. You've kept your crew. You have a good seasoned crew by this point. I mean, they've been in your service for probably, by the time you get to Khromarium, they've been in your service for like 9 months. So they know the ship inside and out. And when you pull into the docks of Khromarium, where some of you call home, essentially, the wharfs are there still loaded with people doing as much trade as they can before the winter comes and starts to, close up the trade routes. You're able to move the goods in. And as you likely are not heading immediately back to Xambaala, a letter of credit or whatever can be sent back to Aramis for his share of this part. So you can kind of close out that part of the deal right now. Plus, you have other ships going back because you have multiple ships as part of your fleet. So you're in Khromarium. Nothing new has come. Every once in a while, Rowan, you seem to see eyes in places where they shouldn't be, and then they're gone. Sometimes in clouds, sometimes in the nails that hold the ship together, sometimes in the hilt of somebody's blade. It seems like an eye slowly opens up and stares at you. But other than that, you're able to get back to Khromarium with no issues. So what is the plan in Khromarium?
Well, I'm from here. Would I know where the Hyperboreans kind of their district or whatever it would be?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have they have like what are the Hyperborean colleges essentially, where they still where they basically where this generation of Hyperboreans that is trying to reveal stuff from the past, because of much of their technology and stuff, of course, was lost in time because they were just living and using it and not creating new technology. So there are Hyperboreans that are working to to rediscover this stuff, so that they have these colleges set up. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay. That's where
Yeah.
Pinesta would like to take the skin.
Okay. All right. So yeah, does anybody else want to do anything else particular in besides just the stuff that's involved with this? Like, I know that there was some talk of buying another ship or whatever. All that stuff can really take place, like, it doesn't, kind of off camera. We don't need to go through everything, but
Yeah.
anything like that needs to happen. If you want to walk through it, we can. Otherwise, we'll assume it's happening off camera. We can just make notes of it.
I just want to get my goods secured because I do have plans for them.
Okay.
Pinesta and I can discuss the other stuff like you said, off camera.
Yeah, the business is more or less that stuff we usually take care of in the chat, so that's easy enough to deal with. So, oh yeah, so you guys doing that? It is going to. I mean, you go back to the Hyperboreans at first are fairly reluctant to help, of course, as they always are. But with some gold passed between you and maybe some trading of technologies. Also, a thing that we had talked about offline that we're just, if you haven't done it yet, at some point you're going to have used up or sold or traded, maybe to the Hyperboreans, some of those weapons of the Migo, and you're just going to keep one. So whoever's got that, and not the pistol side, is the laser sword is fine to keep, as is the laser crossbow, which you have, Rush. Which, by the way, I updated on your character sheet. I put the information on for you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put it shoots three shots per round, up to 3 shots per round, and it's a d6 plus 6 damage.
No.
Yeah, so it's pretty good. So yeah, you guys are able to do all that trade. It takes. Oh wow, okay. You're getting a little bored by the time the Hyperboreans start to reveal anything about this. They seem to have found information about a technique on which kind of what Revna in her her cleverness had come up with, that there is a certain combination of light beams that can activate a pigment, an ancient pigment on, but it has to be on flesh. That's the reason why this is on flesh. It can't be on paper. So they would, well, they're probably fairly hesitant to tell you what they would do to get this flesh, but let's just say that it wasn't always for willing people. But, at least it wasn't any Hyperboreans that they took it from. And, yeah, but by the time you get all that research done, it's been another 11 weeks. So, you're like, from the time that Aramis has given you the scroll, you're looking at like, but, we've got 11 weeks to be like another almost 3 months. So you're looking at about 5-6 months have gone by. And they don't know the exact combination of light, so they're going to want to test it. But as fate would have it, as fate often does, you're there talking to them when in the darkened sky, suddenly you think at first maybe there's an explosion, or you don't hear anything, but you just see a very, very bright light. And off, as bright as the moon, off on the horizon, you see a light moving through the sky. And when this happens, like, people just drop to the ground, like on their knees, like praying to whatever gods they decide to worship in that day, as a comet starts to crest the sky. And the silver blue light from the comet shines upon the room that you're in, and onto the skin is revealed a handout. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see. How do I do this? Edit. Oh, it's already in journal. You guys can see it. It's called Comet Map in the handouts. Do you guys see it? Actually, I think I can go like this.
Yep.
Show it to players. There we go. If you don't see it, you see it now. Oh, that says it's 100%. That doesn't seem right to me.
The mouse of a flame. Great gesture is hid, knock on the stone. 6 miles northeast of the stone lies.
Oh,
And you recognize this kind of low, kind of ziggurat-y shape, Brickyld, immediately as what you had seen out of the corner of your eye when you just saw through the map the first time. And you also recognize some Hyperborean book.
well, now that's cool.
Yeah, and you notice that, like, so you're looking at this thing, like, the light kind of shines on it a little bit, and you can see it, and then, like, they go to move to a table to put it down and study it with, like, a magnifying glass, and as soon as it comes out of the light, the images disappear. And then they walk back towards the window. It's that experiment. They're like, and you realize pretty quickly that it is the light of the comet that is revealing this information on this skin map.
Well, this is fabulous timing.
Things work out that way.
And yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just gonna ask if I would know anything about Silver Flame being a pyromancer.
Not off the top of your head.
Okay.
You'd have to probably research it.
I look at the rest and I say, this sounds promising.
We should ink this while we can see it.
Yeah, I agree. Or at least draw a replica.
Yeah, that the Hyperboreans seem a little bit nervous to have you draw on it, but certainly a replica. I will point out too, though, Crystal, Rowan realizing that she doesn't know anything about a silver flame makes you think it's not actually a flame in the same way that that you might think of fire, basically, because you would imagine as a pyromancer that you would know about something about it, at least a little bit about it, if it were something that was a pyromancer in the school of the pyromancers, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So Rowan Sage will say, I've never heard anything about a silver flame before.
Hey,
Hmm.
Daniel, that I can't really read it. Does this say bag rest in like the last paragraph? Would we know
Yeah.
what that is a reference to?
So Bogris, everybody can roll to see if they know what Bogris is. It's we'll say that everybody's got a 3 in 6 chance because it's not an unknown place.
Wow, never won.
Nice, yeah.
I got a 1 as well.
You do know what Bogris is. Probably, I mean, it makes sense actually. You two guys would know for sure. Because you would have done trade, but anybody who gets 3 or below knows. Progress is a small town in the Gal Hills, a small village. They are on a like an iron bog, and they draw the iron from the water, and they have smiths who make weapons. They do trade. They're not it's not a big town. It's basically a local town in the Gal Hills. It's actually on the map. And by the way, I don't know if this is too small to see. I can always send it to you guys too. I never understand how Roll20 works. If you go to the map where you guys are at, right? If you go to kind of the upper right part of the map where it says Broken Coast.
Yep.
Yeah, if you follow the B from Broken Coast all the ways to the left, so basically towards the center of the map, you'll actually see Progress right there. It's a small town on that river.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And you guys have a what do you call it? A warehouse in Gal itself. So you're familiar with the area for that reason, most certainly. That's a pretty small river and shallow. You couldn't bring your boat up it, from what you know. You could bring a small boat with you if you wanted to go that way, or you could go to Gal and then go across land.
Is that just like plains and fields and stuff? Is that what it represents?
Yeah, the Gal Hills is basically right. It's like open. It's kind of hilly. That's the Gal Hills, but it's basically plains. It's heath, as they say. So it's like low scrub and stuff like that. Yeah,
All
it's
right.
not mountains or anything. Yeah.
Gaul is only a little bit further than if we were to go up into the inlet, and the boat will be much safer in Gaul.
That's also true. Yeah, and what you know of Bogres too is that it's a very small town. Like it's gonna be, you could stay there for sure, but there's like not gonna be an inn, and there wouldn't be like supplies really aplenty. So if you want a supply for a journey, you'd want to go to Gaul first, even though it is about 4 days out from Bogres to overland.
Do we know Gaul, that city? It's pretty I guess tame would be the word. I mean, we wouldn't have to worry about our ship being hijacked or.
No, and you actually have a warehouse there that you own.
Okay.
That adventure where you save the family from the families from the Beastmen. That was in that same area. Was Brickhill on that adventure? I think so. That's where
Yeah,
the
I remember
giant
the
killed.
Crack
Yeah.
Manor.
No, not that one. Right, those were also beastmen. No, this was the what do they call them? Vahus? Vahus? How do you say it, Nikki? Vamas?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you saved him from that weird creature that looked like a giant triangle.
The
Yeah.
Yeths, the Yithians.
Yeah, exactly. The Ithians. Yep.
Yithians.
Ithian.
With the Vormis.
Yeah, with the Vormis, that's what it is. And where the four-armed ape killed all your henchmen.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that general area. But you've been to Gaul before. Gaul's are pretty safe. I mean, it's Celts, so it's a little wild, but it's not like it's definitely safe. It's a big city. Well, it's the biggest city in the area.
Yes, I think Revna has a good idea. We should dock there at Gaul, and I see no misfortune coming to our ship or anything since we're familiar with this area. I say we take our four armed men with us and travel across.
I agree. I think the safety of the ship is pretty important. So I think that's a good idea.
You guys are guarding that ship with
Hmm.
your. Clearly, you've been around. Okay. Cool. Yeah, you definitely do that. So yeah, Gaul is. I mean, you've been there. Let me just give you a little breakdown on Gaul because I know it's been a while. It's basically. Common areas. Nope. I always forget where it is exactly. Okay. So Galos. Okay, so Gaul itself, it's a smaller city in the realm, smallest cities in the realm in Hyperborea, with about 5,000 individuals, mostly Celts. It's kind of the center point of the Gaul Hills, but it doesn't actually have political power over them. So it's not like it's actually in control of the Gaul Hills area, but it is where people come to trade. So you know that they tell taxes, which you would know about, and they've got semi-permanent residents. They do a lot of trading in wool, the sheep herders, in the area, and that's probably what you guys are shipping in and out. And Bogrest is small village lies on the north bank of slow-moving river. It's founded 2 centuries ago to extract iron ore from the surrounding bogs. So they basically smelt iron into bars, and then they bring them into Gaul and then trade them. So you may have even done trade with them in the past. So yeah, it's I mean, it's as dangerous as any place in Hyperborea, but it's not like a pirate town or anything like that. Cool.
That's good. We don't want to leave our boat in a pirate town.
Oh, look, a ship. All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so you're looking at a month-ish, a little over a month travel to Gaul by boat, and much longer over land, obviously, if you want to head in that direction.
Yep.
All right. All right, and you can probably supply there. I mean, you get whatever supplies you need here. You can actually take trade to Gaul too while you're going back and forth. So, and like I said, you have a warehouse there. So you take the. I guess you're going to go between New Vinland. Let's do one overseas possible encounter. Who feels lucky?
Crystal always.
Yeah, Crystal. Roll us a d6. See if you encounter any pirates.
Oh, well, with how I've been rolling tonight, I'm sure we will. 2.
No pirates. No pirates bother you. You have a fairly, so you see ships on the horizon and stuff, but your crew is experienced and you're all experienced, so you keep your distance from anybody that that seems they might be an issue. I mean, you're going right by Brigand's Bay, so you had to roll for that, of course. But yeah, about a month or so goes by, which now puts you. Let's see where you guys are at. So you were here. So let's see. It took you till there to get to Khromarium, and then 11 more weeks, and then another month. Yeah. All right. So it looks like we'll put you here. So you're in the 12th month now of the 11th year. Winter is coming, as they say. Can we say that? We're not allowed to say that without being sued by the. But it is. As you pull into Gala, and as noted, Gala is basically it's a city, but it's a small city. It's been around for a long time, much like Xambaala. It was built before the Green Death, and then got wiped out, and then people have come back and kind of repopulated it. So it doesn't, when there's not like Xambaala when you pulled up and there was like tons of boats docked, but there's probably 1 or 2 trading vessels there. Days are getting shorter. I mean, at this point, you're looking at just a few hours of daylight. I'll calculate all that out before we start next time. But each day, it's been snowing. You're definitely coming into the colder part of the cycle as you pull into Gal. And there, which is what we started talking about a little bit in the chat, now it's going to be very, very cold. Your options for traveling, I mean, you can walk, obviously. I guess I didn't give you that option, but your options for traveling are going to be either dog sleds, because it's snowy, or horses, but then you need to take a mammoth or something to bring a big cart in order to shelter the horses at night, because they would die from the cold, because you're talking about negative 30s, negative 40 degrees on some nights. So I think the chat was that you guys wanted to do dog sleds. Is that true? Do you want to go horses? Advantage. Well, actually, dog sleds are just slightly slower than horses, but they're faster than the mammoth. So you'll be faster on dog sleds, and you won't have to carry as much stuff. Basically, that's the advantage. The disadvantage is that I guess they're not as fast as horses. If you wanted to take off quickly.
The horses would require a lot of care, especially in the cold.
Right. The horses are going to require a lot of care. No matter what, you're going to have to set up camps at night and stuff, so you early and make sure you don't freeze to death. But it's not going to be easy going across the plains. But the dog sleds would be, you need about 7 dogs per sled, and you'll need a sled not necessarily per person, depending on how heavy you guys are. Each sleigh can pull 350 pounds. So you could get away with slightly less sleighs than people, but and really money is not an issue at this point. You guys have tons of money, so it just kind of comes down to how you want to travel.
I'd need a sled just for myself.
Yeah,
you
Puka
would.
needs his own sled.
Yeah.
But
I'm
I could
guessing
share
that,
with somebody.
Yeah.
I think the rest of us could probably share. Although, well, you probably don't, even though you're tall.
Yeah, I don't know how. I mean, Brighild is imposing, so she's tall, right?
Yeah, I think Rowan's the tallest
And
one, isn't she?
Rowan's also very tall, so you guys might want to take a sleigh. And the advantage of having a sleigh per person is if something does happen and you need to condense down to one sleigh, you could do it. Where the other way is not possible.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can just assume. We'll do all the math and stuff later. I'm going to hold up in the middle to figure all that out. You guys have plenty of money at this point. So, and you want to take your 4 guys with you. We could say they can double up, though. I mean, they're not particularly large, and they're not wearing heavy armor or anything. So, we could take 7 sleighs and I guess 49 dogs. It's a lot of dogs, but and
Dog sled, yep.
Yeah. All right. So with the dog sled, you're going to be able to travel across the snowy. So again, they're hills, but it's not terrible hill stuff. As long as there's no super inclement weather, you could travel about a hex a day. So it's going to take you 4 days to get to Bogris. So let's do 4 checks to see if you encounter anything on the plains. Crystal already got away without any harm on the water. So Rush, roll me a d6. Let's see if we can encounter anything interesting out there.
Alrighty.
Fantastic. I always count on one of you guys.
And Mike's over there laughing like, finally someone that's not me.
I was just thinking, like, oh my god, it's not me or Tony this time.
It's got to be somebody different once in a while, right? All right, let's see what we encounter out here. Roll a d6 for me to see what you encounter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see if there's anything exciting out here. 2. All right, that's not too bad. All right. Oh, interesting. And roll more d6 to see if you're surprised.
It's a dire platypus.
Oh, you're surprised. Let me see if they're surprised. Roll another d6 to see if they're surprised.
I'd be surprised to see a dire platypus too.
They're also surprised. So you guys are.
We surprised each other.
Yeah, so the only way everybody can be surprised is if with dog sleds and everything is I'm going to say that you were stopped. Maybe it's the morning. So or you've got it's the morning. Everything the dogs are like tired. They've kind of made little encampments for themselves so they don't freeze to death overnight. You guys are in your little fur lined tents and you're kind of getting up. And the first of course morning is like 11 o'clock in the morning or what. There's no light because except for the comet, by the way, which is still in the sky, of course. There's this kind of bluish silver light as you kind of come out of your tents, and the cold just snaps you in the face, and you're all kind of getting out. And you look up and you see that there are, I don't know how many. Let's see how many. Oh, just one. There is a really, really, really big tiger. And it has fangs like almost they look like sabers. And I'm gonna say it's poking at like your refuse, like maybe somebody like you finished the meal and you just kind of like threw some food off to the side, and so you kind of come out and you see this thing and it sees you and you're both kind of like, so. Oh, okay, interesting. What does everybody want to do? Rowan, what would you like to do? You see a saber-toothed tiger messing with some of your trash.
Quick question before I decide what I'm going to do. Sorcerer's Armor, I can cast that and it stays on until I disable it. Could I have cast it before, like when we left Gaul?
Well, it's the morning now, so.
Okay, all right. Then I'm going to be doing a spell.
Okay. Rush, what does Revna want to do? You poke your head out and you see a saber-toothed tiger.
Scream. No, I'm just kidding. Saber-toothed tiger. Well, she's gonna. How deep is the snow here?
I mean, it's pushed down, but about 3 feet.
Oh, 3 feet. And there's like little scrub brush and stuff like that.
Yep, just barely sticking out. I mean, where you are, it's flattened because you're.
Yeah.
But if you were to run out of camp, it's about 3 feet.
Oh. Yeah, I was gonna try and run and hide, but I don't know if I can do that. Yeah, something like that.
You can poke your head back into your tent.
I guess melee. I'm not melee. Missile.
Okay, so you're gonna use a missile weapon. Panesta.
I'm gonna light up a torch and try to scare it away with the fire.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, you see that maybe you probably had a fire in the middle of the camp. You see there's a few embers that are still going. You can grab a torch and like try to jam it in there really quickly and light it up. How about Brigil?
She's going to walk out and see this and grab her spear and set the spear for a charge, and then she's going to look at Buka and go, "This is where you prove yourself that you are worthy to stay among us."
Buka.
I will grab my spear and I will start walking towards the cat. And I will give a very realistic cat scream.
Trying to scare
it? Yeah, just a nice snow leopard welcome.
Nice. Fantastic. Okay, well, since you are walking towards the cat, making a welcome, go ahead and roll a d6 for initiative. You got a 4.
Oh, that's a 6.
Nice. Yeah. So you start walking towards it, and you do this. It kind of looks at you curiously. It doesn't hiss or anything. It just kind of stares at you and kind of tilts its head sideways. That's movement. Oh, you know what? I didn't set up my background so I could have my combat stuff. So movement's first, right? And then we've got. Oh, actually, melee's first. But nobody's doing melee in this thing at this point because you were walking up to it. Yeah. So you see this thing. Whoever's got a missile attack, which would be, I guess, Vrevna. You see that your friend there walks up to it and kind of makes a cat sound, and it kind of just looks at him. It doesn't charge him or anything. What would you like to do? You're gonna shoot your missile?
If it doesn't charge him, then I'm gonna hold until the second phase
Okay.
because I'd rather not fight it if I don't have to.
Smoking like a wise thief, I guess. Crystal. Rowan's doing magic, right?
Yes. She does kind of like a little dance. Yeah. And claps her hands together, and a little like a blue flame comes up around her as she casts sorceress armor.
Nice. All right, yeah. So that happens. The cat seems a little startled by the flame. I guess you're technically moving too, but that's because you stuck the torch in the fire.
Yep.
So that's fine. It lights up. And I guess we'll go on to the second phase then. So yeah, it jumps back a little bit, like it kind of like takes about 2 slow steps backwards when it sees that flame light up around Rowan, and then when the torch lights up as well, its eyes get a little bit big, and it continues to back up slowly.
Okay.
Yeah, and it looks like it's probably going to take off, but it is technically a second phase if somebody wants to do anything.
I'll just hold my arrow aimed,
Okay.
but
Like
not
ready shooter.
Yeah, ready shooter basically.
Okay. Yeah, if nobody charges it or anything, it will actually just it'll go back, staring at you into the snow, and then kind of when it's the snow, it kind of looks, and then it does that thing the cats do where it jumps off into the snow and takes off.
Yeah.
It would seem that the presence of Buka worked after all.
Yes,
You
good
look
job.
over- You look over and the dogs all are yawning and they're looking up what happened?
Yeah, right? Bunch of chihuahuas.
Yes.
Yeah, it seems that and if you were to look, you see that again there was some refuse, you threw your whatever food that you didn't finish over there, and it was just eating. It's probably slim pickings in the winter. So,
Well, now we know to hang our garbage. Always hang your garbage from a tree.
you look around; it's flat plains everywhere.
Yeah, right. I
There's
mean,
a little tiny bush
theoretically, a
barely
theoretical
stuck over.
tree.
Yeah.
But good
yeah,
job, Buka. Very brave.
Yeah, well done. Yeah, it had basically a positive reaction, and then when you made a cat noise, I figured that was enough to make it just kind of more curious than violent. So it was like, who is this fool? Exactly. Sometimes it's worth it, Got to make that cat sound. Oh yeah, so you hop on the sleighs again. It's cold, but the dogs are worked up, and Nikki, roll me a d6 to see if you encounter anything on day 2 on your way to
Okay.
West.
Nope. 6.
Nope. Clean, easy day. Tony for day 3.
Oh, this is not good because, man, I've been rolling so many ones. A 4 this time.
Hey, all right, nice. And finally, Mike. Boom. All right, yeah. So the rest of the trip is pretty. I mean, you don't see. You do see the occasional like little tiny deer, like those little baby deer that like not baby deer, but the little small ones. Those like what do they call them? Irish deer, the little tiny ones. You see some of those bouncing around, but nothing that seems to be violent to you at all. And nearing the end of the last day of travel, you see, of course, it's already dark, so you just see lights and like fire from the town, and maybe you even hear the sound of the smiths, banging out some tools and stuff from the iron that they need to use locally. But you can actually see some like sparks and smoke and stuff from the smelting of the iron. You can smell it in the air as you come into the town. Now, Bucharest is in the module, so let me get the description. Oh, there's even a map. There's a map. Oop. Oh, I don't know why I put the fog of war on there. Let's move you guys over there. It's a pretty small town, so you'd figure everything out pretty quickly if you just walk around. So I'm just gonna go like that. And let me take that. Oh. There it is. Oop. There you go. So you got a little village here. You're coming basically from the, I guess the lower right-hand side will be where you're coming from of the map. So where it says the village of Bucharest. And of course you see in the center where it says furnace, that's where you're seeing the smoke come up. And the smithy's right next door. As you come into town, you see people kind of moving around and working and stuff. Of course, you got all the dogs, so they look up and they see the whole, group coming in, and you see maybe a couple children kind of run back to the, they see you and they run back into town, clearly to get elders or whatever. And by the time you kind of break into the town proper, a few men, and women come. They're armed with like short swords, but they don't have them drawn or anything. They clean them up and they raise up a welcoming hand. Say, welcome, strangers. Are you here to trade?
I look for the widow I slept with the last time I was here.
Well, she's not with these people, but do you want to go past? Oh yeah. Well, how did that work out? Let's see. I think Mike's asking for a roll here. What would that be?
What it sounds like to me.
A test of charisma? I think that sounds about right.
Charisma test?
Yeah,
okay.
Let's get a charisma test to see how this went. What's your charisma?
13.
Oh, pretty good. Okay. So you're 3 and 6. You got 50-50 chance of
3 and 6?
Yeah.
Evidently not that memorable. Or very memorable.
Very memorable. I'm thinking a 6 is very memorable.
For all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there could be a child here. Let's see. How long ago was it?
Oh God.
Let's give a 2 and 6 chance that you have an offspring here.
2 and 6. Oh, that's a 6.
Okay, so no. All right. So she just, she misses you greatly. But her brothers aren't so happy about it, we'll say. But yes, you come into town. I mean, you probably don't realize that because it went really well. At this point, they greet you. They don't. You don't see her immediately. If you want to like leave the group and go to her house, you certainly could do that. But of course, they're staring at you. the group.
Get a lot of cold stares.
Yeah, exactly. Right now, they probably don't recognize you because you're just covered in furs. But yeah. All right, yeah. So one of the guys raises a hand and says, "Welcome. Are you here to trade?"
Are these people Celtic?
They are Celts, absolutely.
Rowan Siege will give a Celtic greeting as as the group approaches, one that shows that they're just friends.
Okay. You do that. They seem to react positively to it. They say, well, there is you could stay in the common house, and there's warm food for travelers, but
We do have trade though, right? So
yes, of course, we smelt the iron into bars. This time of year, we don't get too many people come, but the river often freezes up, so we don't get much trade that way. We were surprised to see the sleigh. It's figuring possibly somebody was coming to trade in the winter.
well, I know Aramis did give us stuff, right? So
he gave you stuff to trade in Khromarium.
or in Khromarium, that's right.
Yeah, but you could just buy this from them and trade it somewhere else, obviously. Let's get a name for this guy. Roll me a d6.
Me?
Yep.
Okay. 2.
2. All right. This guy's name is Bran. Oh, that's easy. All right. Yeah. So he says, "I am Bran. Welcome. Let me show you to the common house. We can talk trade once you have some hot food in you and get the chill from your bones." And then
Okay.
he yells out. He yells, "Boys, take these dogs!" And you see some like young boys that were hiding behind the things like spying. They come running out, and they they try to take the reins of the dog sleighs if you let them.
Yeah, I don't think we get a bad vibe. I would trust him.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe. No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, they take the reins. You jump off the dog sled and start following this guy. They basically are bringing them right behind you. You can see them bringing them. Where you can actually keep them in sight. They're actually bringing them. If you go to the map where it says Common House, that's where you're going. They're going to bring the dogs like basically like right up those buildings that are kind of to the right above that. That's kind of the area where the dogs are going to be kept.
Okay.
Yeah, they just
Brickfield wants to ask him what his last name is, his family name.
Oh, that is a good question. Roll a d12, and I shall find out.
6.
Oh, Finnan.
Oh, okay. I just I've heard of a Bran McMorrin before, but wanted to make sure that you weren't him.
Ah. Yes, that name sounds familiar. Seems like a name of a king.
Yes, that is a story I've heard of. So
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, so you go to the common house, which is exactly that. It's kind of a big space. We'll say it's kind of near the end of the day, and people are starting to gather. There's a very large table in the center. You can see where there's people are starting to come from their various labors to eat. There people are bringing. They don't cook the food there, but they're bringing in like big pots of food, and they're like setting it down for people to. At one end, it's going to be like you get up and get food, you feed it, and then sit back down at the table kind of thing. And, Brandon introduces you all as, he says, we have guests and traders. This is, and then he realizes that nobody gave their names. So.
Oh,
Roland
I'm. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Rowan Siege will give like a bow, sort of a Celtic bow or whatever, and she'll say in Celtic, "I am Rowan Siege, daughter of Grania."
And he says, "Welcome, Rowan Siege, daughter of Grania," and then everybody kind of bangs their fists on the table. And he waits for the next person to introduce themselves.
yeah, Brickfield would introduce herself and the general area where she's from, and then she would ask him about the comet, what they think about seeing this light in the sky.
Ah, well, it has been in the sky now for many, many weeks and allows us to work later, which keeps us from drinking, which I suppose some of the families like here. And he laughs. He says, some say the comet is a bringer of death, as it was last time. But life comes from death. And it seems that more and more iron is near the surface of the bogs. Perhaps the comet is drawing the iron up for us and bringing wealth to Brocrest. Bogcrest. Brocrest.
Bringer of death. That sounds, good.
Yeah, well, you would know, especially as a bard. I mean, everybody would know this is common stuff. That there was in the Tales of the Green Death that it was preceded by a comet.
The comet, yeah. Well, I'm Pinesta. I weave stories and tell tales. I'm always looking for new ones.
Ah, a storyteller. Then you will tell us a story tonight. Everybody cheers.
I can do that.
Okay. How about Rivna and Buka? Do you guys introduce yourselves?
Yeah, Revna would just introduce herself, that she was she would just introduce herself as Revna of Eriksgard.
Ah. You've probably used our iron in the work you do. He smiles and he kind of looks at your weapons or whatever.
If you refer to the building of ships, I am not a shipwright, but I do recognize the quality of the Viking longship and its superiority over the rest of the world. And I'm quite sure that we have utilized your irons.
The finest iron in Hyperborea comes from Bogcrest. And he kind of looks at Buka.
I'm still scanning the people in the room. Do I see her at all?
You're like looking around, and then you feel a tap on your shoulder. And yeah.
Yeah. And I stand up and I proudly announce I am Buka Longtooth of Vinland.
Oh,
Yes.
so this is Buka, and everybody starts laughing.
Friends, we are friends, are we not?
Yes, there is many an effigy of you hung about the village. I cannot say why some of them have been taken to flame on various nights, though, and then all the men laugh.
Well, I'm glad I have left such impression. It's good to be so warmly welcomed.
Oh yes, stay for a while. And you see several of them glaring at you.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Said, where is your sister?
Oh, she'll be along soon. Don't worry.
I don't see her here.
No. She'll be along soon. Please sit. Have some soup.
Yeah, no, I hate to be rude, but what was her name?
Roll a d6.
I lean to Pinesta and go, I have a really bad feeling about this.
Oh, where am I at? There we go. D6. A 2.
Oh. Brickhilt.
What? Oh no.
How could I forget? It's like it was right on the tip of my tongue.
I lean over immediately and go, Brickhill, have you ever stayed here before? I just want to make sure that we're clear.
No, I have not. And,
Okay. Okay.
Booker he's not my type.
Just kind of holds her hand up and says, I just wanted to be, sure. The things we do when we drink,
It would take more than there's not enough to make me that drunk.
Oh boy.
So
They
yeah, so
said,
the whole place like stops for a second as you hear footsteps kind of running down the street, and a very petite redhead comes running in, who her eyes get real big when she sees Buka, and she's like, "Buka, my love, you came back. I told them you would. I still have the locket you gave me."
I told you I would come back. See, I have returned. I keep my word.
"This is excellent. The shaman will be here tomorrow for our marriage." And she runs up and embraces you. I told my 4 children that you would be back.
Holy shit.
Brickhill will look towards Revna and whisper and go, you do see there is quite a bit of difference between the two of us, correct?
I mean, I've never been here. I'm just saying, his Brighild. I haven't known you. I mean, I've known you a long time, but I don't know everywhere you've been.
Well, there is that mention of the dowry yet. Has that been settled up? Has your father settled the dowry?
I immediately tell Brighild, I go, shh, now be quiet. This is getting good.
Yes, of course.
I mean, I hate for this to be a sticking point, but
No, of course not. 4 ox and 1 ton of iron, I think, was the agreed upon.
oh, that's
Of course, we had to eat one of the oxen since you were not here to provide.
I understand. I understand. It has been a long time. I'm sorry, my travels have kept me. I have many stories of great heroic adventures. Your children and you and your clan will be proud.
And then they people kind of settle down a little bit.
And tomorrow we will wed.
All right. There you go. So yeah, as everybody, she sits down with you, of course. Oh, interesting. Oh, you know what? Roll a d12. Let's see what's going on with this Brighild. Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah, so you guys are there, and people, of course, are interested in why you're there. Well, I mean, they're assuming you're there for trade and obviously for the wedding, but this guy Bran kind of brought you in. He he asks the group. He says, "We've not traded with you before. What brought you to this area? Or are you just the most clever to come across the fields? As I say, most don't dare going up the river this time of year."
Well, we're pretty clever, actually. But we've also heard rumors and stories. And again, that's what I collect.
Oh, stories? Not of the bog witches. We just tell those to children.
Oh, like eat your greens or the bog witches will come steal you in the night, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Well, I've encountered a bog witch or two in my time. At least something similar.
Really? Well, that would be a story to hear.
But we saw the comet.
Yes.
And we heard about a silver flame.
Kind of looks up, even though obviously there's a roof above him and he can't see anything. He kind of looks as if he's looking at the comet. And he says, oh, that is a very poetic way to say it. You are a storyteller.
Yes, totally my idea. Let's see, I know I wrote it down.
Silver-tongued devil.
Always. We've heard that there might be some interesting ruins or some such thing about a little bit northeast of here. Is that true?
Oh, in the heath?
Yes, in the heath.
That's interesting. I think it must have been... Yes, maybe just 2 days ago. It's hard to track time with this comet in the sky. There was another group, on foot though, not traders, into the heath, looking for ruins. I'll tell you what's in the heath is a whole bunch of death.
Death from what?
Well, if anyone ever survives the heath to come back and tell me, I will let you know.
People
Are
go
we
and
all-
never come back.
Are we all
Sorry.
hearing this about him
Yeah.
described that there was, Brick
yeah.
Hill wants to ask him about how many were in that group and maybe descriptions of them. She's kind of concerned, and if we recognize them or any of them.
Yeah, so he says there were 5, like you. One could have been a bog witch for all you know. She seemed quite old but spry on her feet. Dressed in heavy furs, like everyone, but not a warrior for sure. There was another, a woman, much like you. Similar build, he kind of looks, pointing to Brickhild. Dressed in armor, with a shield and a sword. And there was another, kind of a small one. He knew much of the land and how to move through it. Seemed to be an archer of some sort. So, and there was a woman too. She didn't say much, dressed all in black. And finally, one who was clearly a wizard. Lit all our candles with the snap of her finger. Huh. Such a trick. Could you imagine? That's 5, right? Yeah. I think I counted them, right? That's 5.
But they don't, any of them sound familiar to us, like anybody we've dealt with or met.
No, they don't seem like anybody you've ever met before. I mean, they seem like they're probably adventurers, but you have not met any of them as far as you know.
Yeah, Brick Hill looks kind of, puzzled, looking towards Finesta, like that, how did these people, where did they come from? But
Yeah, I kind of shake my head like I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, how would they have? I mean, how many flesh maps of the place are there? A wizard, you say? A human wizard?
Yes.
Not.
What other kind could they be?
Oh, I've heard tales.
Like a blob? This wizard was a blob, actually. No, it wasn't human.
Yeah. Of wizards.
It was not a tiefling, I can tell you that right now. No, it was human. Everybody was. I mean, they could be Hyperboreans, I guess, but yeah, no, they were all human.
No, I was.
Yeah.
Well, I look over at the others, see if they have any questions for the guy.
If there's nothing super specific that anybody has, although you can always ask in a second, everybody can roll for some rumors just in general, talking around the table. I mean, it's a long table. Everybody's just talking, and as is the custom with the Celts, so you're not all sitting together. They kind of spread you out amongst the people so you can tell stories and stuff. So let's start with Crystal. Crystal, roll a d10.
Okay. And before I roll, I just wanted to say,
Yeah.
before we came into town, I would have dismissed my spell. Otherwise, it would look like I'm on fire right now, and I don't want to
Oh, yeah.
do that.
Okay, yeah, we don't. That might be yeah. Oh, okay. So you hear that the dead that are buried in the soil of the heath don't rest quietly.
Huh.
I'll put that here if I can. And Rush, want to roll for a rumor d10?
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Come on, mouse.
Oh, this person tells you that for three straight nights, they've heard strange howling from across the heath. And Nikki, roll my d10.
Okay.
Oh. So probably while you're talking about the witches, somebody says, "Oh, you need not worry about witches in the heath, but there is a wizard, a man with a beard to his feet, eyes that pop from his head, and can see in the darkness. He lures people in, and he takes their souls." Brickhill, roll me a d10.
8.
8. Okay. Well, since we already have that one, I'll give you this one. They say that Yunde walks in the heath, but you should not offend her. Of course, Yunde is the antler god, right?
Oh, yeah, because we had Rush's character used to worship Unde.
So you would know who Yunde is, yeah. They say that Yunde lives in the heath, or travels the heath, or stays in the heath, or walks in the heath, I guess. And Buka. Roll me. Let's see what your new wife says. Oh, so you got that one already, so I will give you the next one, which is... Oh. Okay. This guy says, "I explored the heath myself 2 days ago, and I saw a wagon driving across. A wagon of all things. And no one was driving it." Yeah, there we go. And finally, one more. I'm going to give you this one too, because one more random one. So when you mentioned the silver, now that you're drinking and stuff, and you had mentioned the silver flame earlier, but Bran, he seems to be like in his drinks, and he says to you, 3 days before the comet came, and then ever since, there has been flashing of silver light in the heath.
So these people that we're getting these from, we're just overhear them talking, correct?
No, they're telling you.
They're okay.
Yeah, you guys are you're exchanging stories, because you told them what you were there for, so they're all kind of like interested in you told them about the idea. Not
the one that says he's heard the strange howling from across the heath. I would say, well, you live out here in the wilderness. Surely you've heard wolves and the like. What kind of howling? What is this howling?
Oh no!
Sound like
this howling is the howling of. It's a sickening howling, kind of a mix between a wolf and a cat. Kind of a howling, yowling.
So not like that of an injured or crazed man. This sounds like a beast to you.
Well, is an injured or crazed man not a beast?
Yes, but I mean in the literal sense.
Yes, in the literal sense.
I clap him on the shoulder and I thank him for his story and
You notice
for,
that he like turns to somebody else and he's like he didn't really, like he mulls over his literal sense, like with a question mark, like he doesn't really know what that means.
oh. I'm using my big magic user words.
That's right. These are uneducated bog farmers.
Yes.
After we leave, these people are going to be going around saying the word literally, but like not actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're on fire today, literally.
Yeah. Now we know where it started. Thousands of years ago in Hyperborea. Precious character.
That's right. I did it.
Awesome.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to share my information with everybody else.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a big communal thing, so everybody can be talking back and forth and sharing the information. But eventually, you know, as people start to get more and more, well, some people when they finish their food and they, you know, their families are looking at them, they go back home. But then those who don't have families, you know, stay later and drink with you until eventually there's only a handful of people left. Brighild, the fiance, is like, oh, you should come back to, and then her Brand is like, ah, you'll see him tomorrow, Brighild, and he takes her away. And yeah, you guys end up in the end with only a handful of people staying in here with you, and they kind of tell you can, you know, throw your furs down on the ground and you can sleep over there because there's like a fire burning or whatever. So you kind of have a place to sleep here inside. If you need any of your gear besides what you've got on your bodies, you can go out and get it. The slaves are outside, but essentially they're giving you a place to sleep for the night, and you'll more or less be on your own if you want to discuss any of this stuff away from the peoples.
Well, I think we just have to, I don't know who these adventurers are who've preceded us.
Yeah, what did he say they looked like?
You want me to describe them all again?
I mean, I had
Well, the one that most
had
caught
something
my
going on my lap at that time, but
Essentially one that looked like a witch, one that was like a tall warrior woman, much like Brighild, one that was like a small man that was an archer, one that was a woman dressed all in black, and one that was a magician that could control fire.
Oh, your standard, you know.
Well balanced party.
No, she looks at Ruin Siege. She says, another fire thrower.
Yes, that one caught my attention as well. Be interesting if we run into them. Hopefully they will be friend.
I hope so. But not going to assume anything just yet.
Of course, we don't know that they're looking for the same thing we are. It could just be coincidence that they set foot out to the heath.
Could be, although he said they were looking for the ruins. which I don't, the stones.
Well, I suppose we'll find out.
You know, what we should have asked is how long this comet is going to be here, because according to the map, we only have while the comet is here to find what we seek.
Well, then maybe we should leave tonight.
You have a wedding tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. I was just thinking if we got to jump on it tonight, that, you know,
You know how cold it is out there? I'm fairly sure we would freeze.
Plus, that ton of ore would go a long way in the trading business.
yeah,
Yeah, it really would.
Just saying.
yeah, it would.
She chuckles and looks back at the others.
Are you really worried, Buka? I mean, after the wedding, do you plan on staying here?
Well, I have adventuring to do, so.
So whether you
So-
wed or whether you don't, you'll be coming with us.
Well, she's a Viking woman at that point. She'll have to get used to what a Viking does, right? Viking man adventures.
Well, you have a wonderful physique for the smithy too. I think you could be well trained into working in a smithy.
Yes, even in New Vinland, we have red-haired women there, and you know how they can be.
That's
Excuse
true.
me? Vanessa says.
Oh, yes, the redhead Viking women.
Yes, those redhead women.
Tend to be not redhead women in general, realizing now she's backed herself into a corner. Redhead Viking women are particularly, what's the word?
The
Volatile?
Khromarian ones are pretty
Stubborn.
mean too.
Particularly stubborn.
Oh,
They,
well, no one's ever, I could never be accused of being stubborn. So.
No,
No.
when they,
Revna, would you
For the
would you like
short
some
time
wine?
I've known you, I've never seen you stubborn.
when they get angry, they do things like create effigies of their people they're angry at and hang them all over town and set fire to them. You know,
I'm
little things like
sure
that.
that wasn't her doing. I'm sure that was more her brother's.
I'm sure of that too. She goes back to her drink.
You know, I'll give her brothers some money. I'll invest in their businesses. This will keep the wheels of progress greased, we'll say. And I'll
Back
go
home, you just would have
adventuring again.
punched her brothers in the face and been done with it.
Well, I have children now to be an example to.
And we don't want to make a ton of enemies on our first day here.
Yes, not about making enemies.
No, I mean, that might happen eventually, but doesn't have to be the first day.
No.
So tomorrow then we'll head out. I mean, we've all heard the rumors.
Right away in the morning. We should leave right away in the morning. Just get a good brisk start.
What's interesting is that it said for 3 days they've had the strange flashes of silver light, and for 3 nights they've heard the howling.
I honestly don't know if they can count.
Well, they
Oh.
did say that the comet in the sky was making it difficult to keep time.
Yes.
Well, as always, we should just use caution.
That
Excellent.
means we have to move slowly, so we should leave tonight. Just to get
I'm-
a head start.
I actually would leave tonight because I'm excited about this, but it is, as Rowan Seach says, very, very cold.
Well, she could produce fire. That will warm us. right, Pyromancer?
I mean, I can produce flame, but it doesn't
Right.
quite work that way. I can't produce a fire on the go.
And if they say it's boggy and stuff, I mean, we don't know how the footing will be in this slush, the snow and the slush for the dogs.
Yes.
I'm
You
sorry,
can hear the dogs
Buka.
barking now.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry, Buka, but I think the morning is best.
Just better make
know.
it a really early morning.
Okay.
Well, I'm all excited about this wedding. I don't think I can sleep. Maybe I should just wake you all up early.
Of course, we wouldn't want to miss it.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to miss it either.
Okay.
That would
So-
be horrible.
Are you going to try to get up and leave before everybody else so you can escape the wedding? Is that the plan?
I think that's Buka's plan.
I mean, you got the dog sleds and everything. I mean, that's
Wouldn't have been the first time I left in the middle of the night.
right. Oh, okay. Yeah, so you could do that. I mean, however you want to do it. You want to leave in the morning? Let's get it. We'll get
You
a check
should
of
probably
charisma.
stay for the wedding.
Yeah, well, yeah. If you want to, Yeah.
If we make it quick. I mean, it's got to be a simple wedding, right?
Yeah, we'll say it's a simple wedding.
Yeah.
4 days worth of feasting.
Consummation, all that stuff.
Well,
Write down in my notes, Buka gets married.
It's
Yeah,
just
and-
like in my notes.
it's in the notes now. So it's are you just gonna get married? I mean, we don't have to role play out the getting married part, but yeah. Or do you want to try to escape? You will know that no. On a serious note, though, the wedding is 4 days. So if you want to
4
get married,
days?
then you're going to be held up here for 4 days. Yeah, unless you do like the beginning of it and then leave. Because it's like you get married.
well,
It's like 4 days of feasting and stuff. So
Well, I will give them money to make all the very good preparations.
okay. So you want to delay it so you have
Yes.
proper preparations.
And
By offering
I
money.
want her to have, a proper gown and
see.
everything. And so, yes. And so while we are adventuring, they can prepare for the wedding. And when we return in a few days, then we can be wed.
Okay. So how much money? Let's grease the
Uh,
wheels here.
I will leave 500 with them. That's about all I have.
All right. That's his. All right. So roll a d6 for a test of charisma.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
D6.
Yep. Come on. You got this.
One.
Oh yes. Nice. That's what you want. Low. Yeah. So the brothers don't seem to be, so happy about you getting married to her anyways, as you already realize. So when you offer up, and of course that ton of iron is coming out of the family business. So they're like, oh yeah, we'll do the preparations, and when you come back, we'll have the wedding, and they take your 500 gold pieces and
Right.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I tell them part of this is also to invest in the businesses.
Sure.
And the part of the dowry will be reinvested in the family businesses.
Okay. You'd see this. They start counting the coins up and dividing them amongst themselves.
I love family.
All right. So yeah, the next morning comes and this negotiation is made. The the dogs have been fed and put up on the sleighs and prepared for the trip into the heath. Is there anything else that you want to do in this town before we move to the heath?
I think we've done enough.
Yes, you have. All right,
Find a good lawyer.
that's probably a good place to leave it, actually. And then we can start the next time with the hex crawl. You can think, I mean, you would have had time to, because obviously we didn't want to stop in the middle of the game. So when you were in Gaul, you would have been able to supply up. If there's something you think that you would have brought, you can just, have bought it in Gaul. Just make a note of that before the next session. So you know what kind of gear you got. You know what you're doing. You're basically on dog sleds going across essentially hilly / smooth terrain, looking for something. All right. Any final thoughts?
No.
Yeah, if you want to attend the wedding, make sure you ring the bell.
Yeah, there you go.
Smash that subscribe button so that you're ready to do it. And make sure that you share it with everybody else,
Right.
because no one wants to miss out on this wedding.
It's going to be the biggest wedding in Hyperborea.
All new
Awesome.
subscribers get invited to the bachelorette or the bachelor party.
There you go. All right, guys.